number three, category number three, and it is be entertaining, create fun. Now, this is not an easy blog post to create for most people. I mean, if you're a comedian or if you're good at that, then it's great. I'm not, so that's not a very easy type of content for me to create, and I create very few of those. But when I create, they usually are performing very, very well. So have a look. I suggest that that you try it out if it works for you, and if not, you don't have to use all the 10 categories. But it's good to know. So the first one, I'm going to give you a few different templates. The first one is a story, okay, what we call the story post. So just create a content that tells a story. People love stories. That's a story that will be entertaining for your audience, so not a very heavy drama, preferably, okay? There are some blogs that are creating only this type of content. I mean, everything that they're using is building around stories and analogies and stuff like that. And if it works for you, go for it. I'm going to give you a few examples of what you can do. One is the personal discovery story. So this is tell how you discovered a lesson. You know, you did something and you struggled with something, and at one point you discovered the lesson, and how did you do that? And tell that story. People would love to hear that. Another one would be a success story. So you can create a success story or write a success story about yourself, a success that you created, or it can be about somebody else, your client, for example, or somebody you know in the industry. A story that actually teaches something, giving some lessons about it. Tell them how you achieved something. The third type of story, just as an example, because you can do any kind of story, the third one is a failure story. It's the opposite. And it is entertaining for people if you're at the end, you know, you manage to get out of it. So if you can, it also can be incredibly powerful because it puts you very honest and very transparent in front of people, and people like that. We'll talk about it later. So if you can do that, if you can share a failure story but with the lesson or lessons learned, then you're actually created something very powerful. So this is the story. The second one is a satire. It's be humorous by through the use of irony, or just exaggerate something. Extreme exaggeration. This one, it works, right? So this is the kind of post that works well where there are a timely issue. It can be politics, can be sports, it can be other news item. I'm going to give you one example, and if we'll find it, we'll put it in the video here. Is what we call Nissan versus Brad Pitt. Okay, I try to make a point about how much money, stupid money, big companies have and how do they spend it. And I wanted to show that I can also get paid, millions and millions and millions of euro for something very, very stupid, just like Brad Pitt did. So probably you'll see the video just right now, and we're going to come back in a moment with the next post.
It's not a journey. Every journey ends, but we go on. The world turns and we turn with it. Plans disappear. Dreams take over. But wherever I go, there you are. My luck, my fate, my fortune. Chanel number 5. Inevitable.
It's not an ad. Every ad should sell, but this one just blubbers. The world goes mad. Or is it just Brad? Logic disappears. Gibberish takes over. But whatever I do, it's always the same. My voice, my hair, my $7 million. Chanel number 5. Give me a break.
All right. So next one, still in the entertainment, is the cartoon post. I have nothing to do with drawing. I cannot draw for the life to save my life. But if you can do that. You can just create a series of cartoons that that every time or once in a while you just create a cartoon that makes a topic or brings a topic in your area of expertise that actually make it in a fun way. By the way, you don't have to know how to draw at all. You just need to come up with a concept and get yourself an illustrator or a cartoonist that will create it for you. It's not expensive and it's pretty easy to find them. Just come up with the idea. Okay, those are four different drawings, and each one of them will communicate this, and just tell it to somebody, and they will create it fantastically for you. You can even make it into a line if that's something that you like and that your audience like. But just very simple way. Another one is what I call fun video video post, and you can either create that fun video if you can, and we created a few of those. Not so many, but we create a few of those. That the one with that I just showed you with Brad Pitt is one of them, but we have others. But you can also just, you know, go to YouTube, find funny video in your area of expertise, and put that online. We use that sometimes. Those are a type of posts that will spread virally. If the video is good, and if you have some kind of a commentary on that, to put your own personality there, it can go viral very quickly. So that's valuable to try out. The last one I want to mention in this area, in this category of entertainment, is a parody. You can create a parody post, and you want to imitate a well-known person or product or a media property in your niche. Just make sure that you exaggerate both their good stuff and their bad stuff. So you kind of just make everything exaggerated. Again, the video with Brad Pitt can belong to that, but we have others. We have actually full sessions. That one is called 10 Best Ways to Lose a Deal, okay, which I'm poking fun on how people are doing these stupid things in order to try to get the deal, and they're doing the opposite. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, that actually became a movie, okay, and again, a parody of how people are doing things. And there is a great video that I'm using sometimes in businesses that is called How Not to Network, for example. It just shows, it's just a parody of how some people are networking with exaggeration, and everybody's getting to understand, oh shit, I don't want to be that guy, right? So this is the parody post, and basically those are 5 that you can use if you want to entertain. It's not my strong point, I'm not using it a lot, but here and there it might be good to mix up. If this is your strong point, go for it. Okay, so I'll give you a minute now to think if you can integrate that in any way, shape or form. If not, that's totally fine. If yes, just pick up something and maybe set for yourself a date. Okay, in 6 weeks, that's going to be the blog post I'm going to create. I'm going to give you a minute for that. All right, welcome back. So we talked about we talked about the 3 different categories. Now we're going to go for the 4th, and the 4th is be current or timely, if you want. So basically, what you want to do is to be able to create a blog post about something that is happening right now, that people know about it because it's happening right now. Now it takes quite a commitment to make all your blog posts like that, because then you need to be on the news and on the industry gossip and everything that is happening all the time. And that's not what I'm doing, but you don't have to do it all the time. You can do it once in a while, or you can do it when something big is happening and you want to ride on it or to piggyback on it. So here are 5 ideas that are timely, or that are, you know, using the current whatever is happening right now. So one is a review post, and one of the most searched terms on the internet is the word review. So anything with the word review, so any kind of a product with the word review, any kind of a service with the word review, any kind of a vacation destination with the word review will generate a lot of searches. So I know that when I'm trying to buy something new, if it will be a software or if it will be a course or something like that, many times I will just go to Google and I will put the name of the course or the product, and I will put the word review. And then I will find all those reviews that other, usually bloggers actually wrote about that. And I'm reading a few of them, see if I'm agreeing or not agreeing, if I appreciate the opinion, and then I make my decisions. A lot of people do this way. So what you can do is to review a product or an event or anything else that you have access to while it's still being newsworthy. And I know that there are people that are doing it even from events. So people are going to an event, a conference, and are writing down, basically they make their notes into a review, and then they either make it available as a blog post, or they sell it as a report, as an actual PDF report that people pay for. So this can be very, very powerful. What you want to make sure is that you're trying to be as objective and fair as possible. So it's not a review, it's not a chance to bash a product that is your competitor, or kind of, praise something that is closer to you, but to try to give as fair and insightful opinion about the pros and cons for the product, and let people then make a decision if they want to buy it or not. I found out that this type of blog posts are having quite a long lifetime, because as long as the product is still going on, people are looking for those reviews. So something to think about, that's review. The second one is taking it a little bit bigger and making product comparison. post. This time you don't take one product, but you take a few competing products, 2 at least, but sometimes 3 or 4 or 5, and you make a comparison between them. So it's kind of a twist on the traditional review that we just talked before. Now you're providing lots of value by saving people lots of time to do this for themselves. You're actually taking those 2 or 3 or 4 products, you try them out, you experiment with them, you see what works, what doesn't work, the pros and cons, the prices, comparison, etc. And you put it in a table or in a report, and people love that. Again, that's one of the most searched terms is, product versus product, for example, or product or sports car comparison, or whatever it is that you can think of. So that's the comparison. The next one is the survey post. Okay, a survey post. This is when you're choosing a newsworthy or a trendy topic, something that happens right now, and you survey your audience, your readers, through email, through social media, through the comments to the blog, doesn't matter, or even in person, and you report with the results. You just put out the results. So, for example, social media use. We did it a lot. We did it. We had a whole part of the company that was doing what we called an entrepreneurs survey. It was in Dutch, but it was called the Entrepreneur Survey as translation. And I think once every 6 weeks we sent to 80,000 entrepreneurs that were on our list at the time questions. One of them was social media use in small business. And it was a survey. So people answered about 15 questions about how they use, what they use, how much they spend on it, what the results they get, what are they planning to use in the future, what are they going to drop in the future, etc. And we used to put this as a report with all the pie charts and graphs and everything. And people loved that. It was actually a lot more than just a blog post. We used the blog post for the short summary of the results, and then people could download the full report, which was, I think, 20 pages or 30, something like that. Another one that you can do, I mean, it's not something that we did, but how do you keep in shape? Okay, and you make a survey among all your audience, and then you find out how many people are using exercises, and how many people are doing this diet, and how many people are doing this diet, etc. So that's as long as it's relevant to what is happening right now in the news or a trend, that's perfect. Yeah. Next one, talking about news. Number 4 in this category is the news post, and basically you're trying to create a blog post on something that is happening right now. We used to do that a few years ago. We used to get up every morning, scan the papers, find a topic that was in the headlines in some of the papers, and write on on the spot an article about that, and send that article as a press release to all the news media. And it was picked like crazy because the media loves to get things that are related to the main topic that everybody is talking about. It requires quite a lot of commitment. I wasn't willing to keep on getting up in the morning every day at 6, so I stopped that. But hey, that's absolutely a possibility, and you don't have to do it all the time. You can do it once in a while or when it's right. You don't need to break out the story. You don't need to be, the scoop. It doesn't have to be yours. But what you want to do is to piggyback on it as fast as possible. Okay, you want to add perspectives to a topic in a way that the audience will find valuable or entertaining. Okay, and sometimes if you can make it something that most of the media are not thinking it that way, then you're gaining even more points. So that was number 4 there. And number 5, the last one in this category, is the trend post. It's not my strong point, but I know that there's quite a few bloggers that's their strong point. They're able to predict trends at the beginning when they're just starting, or even before they're just starting. So if you're a trend spotter, if you can identify a trend in your industry at any point of time, you can create the content on that trend when it's still early, and you're going to become very, very popular. Okay, as soon as this is picking up. Okay, that's taking the wave when it's still small and riding it all the way to the beach. So, for example, just examples. So, live streaming, like Facebook Live or other services, live streaming. What is it, and how can you use it to grow your business? That's a trend, because it started with Periscope, and now it's Facebook Live, and it's probably going to be some other stuff that are coming up. It's a trend that you want to you can capitalize if that's your area of expertise. IV therapy, something I just heard right now, in the last few weeks, where it becomes a trend. More and more people are starting to use IV therapy. Don't ask me what it is right now. It's not for this webinar, but you can check it out. And so you can say IV therapy, the new trend in physical health and beauty. Then tell people about it. So those were a few of the examples that I had for be current or be timely. Let's move, before we move on, let's take a minute right now to see if you can use any one of those 5s. If any one of those gets you, yeah, I can do that. If you can set up for a date for one of those, then do that now, and I'm going to give you a minute. All right, number five. We're talking about those 10 categories. We're number 5. We're already 45 minutes into the webinar. It's going to be a little longer today. All right, so be human. Okay, be human. And I have quite a few things for you about being human, at least seven. Okay, 7. Let's see. The first one, inspirational post. Okay, when you're writing something which is inspirational, some of the most effective content on the web or on blogs today is not necessarily instructional or informational or entertainment. It's just pure inspiration. It's giving people hope. It's telling a story of success that paints a picture for people that, hey, I can do that too. People like to hear good news stories in their area or in their niche, that it motivates them to persist even when things are not so easy, okay, in order to get to those similar results. So you want to find examples of successes in your own experience and of other people in your industry or in your niche, and then spread that message. Tell people, hey, if I can do that, you can do it. So for example, articles that we wrote in the past, why we want you to be rich, okay, for example, and then inspiring people to this fact, or stories of enlightened millionaires. This is a lot of what we're doing in the new book, okay, as an appendix, stories of enlightened millionaires, just to show you, hey, you can do that, you can get there. None of them started this way, but with hard work and persistence, everybody can get there. We have a student that wrote a book. It's more than a blog article, wrote a book about cancer as a gift, because she needed to handle with cancer, she needed to fight it, and at the end she figured out, or she realized, that this was actually the best thing that ever happened to her, and she inspired lots and lots of people as a result of that. So this is an inspirational post, for example. The second type of blog post, which I like a lot, it's the I call it the unplugged post. It's some of the best content on the web were created by a blogger, for example, that lets their guard down by just sharing something real, something very personal, maybe intimate, about their life or about an experience that the audience can relate to, or that the readers can relate to. And for example, that stuff that I created, I've been broke and I didn't like it. Okay, this is a story from my yo-yo kind of financial situation when I was making money and then, you know, going totally broke and make money and totally lose everything, etc. And you know, that's an experience that some people can relate to, and it's done with when you dine with lots of transparency and vulnerability, then you get people to connect and to engage. Remember, that's the main purpose of everything that we're trying to do, is to create engagement. Another one can be the most damaging sentence I ever told my daughter. I didn't write an article about it, but I was sharing a lot about it in training. And you know, it's not a nice thing to be standing in front of people and admit it, but hey, I learned something from that, never did it again, and I think that's very valuable for people not to do that also. Or the best question I was ever asked, if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? All those examples, by the way, are from my life. I'm sharing about them. It's I can't say that I'm enjoying doing it, but I can see the value both for me therapeutically and for the audience to see that, hey, if I can do it, they can do it. Okay, so the next one, the number 3, is the things that I wish I had done differently. Okay, again, I did a couple of those. I even did a session in a training for that. Those types are, of course, are always a hit, always, no matter who writes them. Things I've done, if you know, I knew better, or things I wish I'd done differently and everything. It's everybody loves to look at other people's mistakes, especially successful people. So it doesn't matter in what area. If you can write something like that, you will come across as very human and very transparent. Okay, so for example, 7 things I would do differently if I would have to start all over again. This is a blog post that I created, a couple of blog posts actually. I did a session for that, etc. It's just, you know, basically what I would have done differently now that I'm smarter, bigger, you know, wiser, etc. My 10 biggest business and money mistakes. Okay, this appears in articles, but I also have a full session about that in the Financial Freedom, where I'm going into detail. And it's painful. It's painful for me to just recall all those experiences, but it's so important. It's so important to share those mistakes, because people can learn from my lessons without having to do that same. And again, I'm coming across quite human as a result of that. The one thing I wish I knew when I started training for my first marathon, didn't write about that in an article, but I absolutely could. Okay, so this is the type of blog post that will actually, again, make you very human. Next one, number 4, things you might not know about me. Things you might not know about me. It's a template, right? This is one of blog posts that I recommend always to every blogger. Every blogger should have one of these or more. It's one of the fastest way to engage and to get in contact with people is to just, you know, show them behind the screen, show them who you are and what they actually cannot see usually. Because, you know, people see me on stage and they see thousands of people in the room, and I'm pretty confident when I'm on stage, and I'm handling, you know, everything that is happening, and I can keep up the energy for many, many hours, deliver lots of value, and people are running to the back to buy stuff and everything. It all looks kind of nice and dandy, but what goes on behind the screen? You know, how do I get up the courage, you know, to go on stage? What do I do when I'm getting a blackout? What do we do, you know, when people are not responding in the way that I'm expecting, etc.? All those are very, very valuable to share. For example, it's not a blog post, but it's a video blog that I did a while ago. It was called 45 Lessons I Learned in My 45 Years. Okay, that I did it in my 45th birthday. I put 45 lessons I learned over the years. So that was, again, many of them were something that I never shared before with anyone. Or 5 things I never told you about earning money. Okay, so this is actually a session that we're doing in a training. Overnight success takes 10 years. Here's what you need to do in those 10 years. Okay, I didn't do that, but I should do an article like that because it's true. And then you're showing people stuff that they don't know about you. Number five, this can be a little bit kind of entertaining, or it's a little bit controversial, and people love controversy. And the template is why I don't do something, whatever it is, why I don't do something. It's one of my favorites. For example, why I don't do search engine optimization. Okay, and I'm telling that. I'm sharing that with people many times. Why I don't ever watch TV. You probably heard that from me again and again. Okay, this is why I don't do something. Why I never carry a business card. We share that in some of the networking, advanced networking courses. Why I never carry a business card. Now you will make your own decision if you think that you should do the same or not, but at least I'm sharing it with you something about me, which again makes me very real and open and honest and transparent and human, which this is what we want to create because it differentiates us and separates us from all those, you know, big corporate talks that we probably are familiar with. So this is usually can be very fun, entertaining, exciting for people to read, so I would recommend that. Absolutely. Next one, number 6 is behind the scenes post. This is really the behind the scenes. And if you have if you have people that don't care about your product or services, they are not going to care about what you're doing behind the scenes. But if you have loyal fans, if you have raving fans, people that are using your products or services, they like you, they want to know. They want to know what you do in your office. They want to know what tools you're using. They want to know how do you do things. They just want to see that. We do that a lot with the camera. We just go with the camera around. Even in this, you might see that the camera in different times is just showing different angles. It's on purpose to show you that I'm right now not in a very professional studio. It's my home office, and we're moving the books from one side to another in order to get the right nice shot. But if you get the wrong shots, then you probably will see that it's probably empty there, or that there is nothing on the tables or anything, because this is. It's not meant to be more than just a place for me to stand in front of the camera. That's behind the scenes. We do it during trainings. We do it in other places. You might have seen some of the videos that my team is publishing online with the bloopers that we're having, etc. So this is those are different types of behind the scenes. Let me give you a couple of templates for an article. How I calculate the lifetime value of a client so I can spend so much more to bring new clients. Okay, this is something that I'm not teaching in a course, but I do show that in an article. How do I do that? Or the 2 things I do before going on stage to let go of fear and anxiety. Actually, there are 10 of those. There are 13 of those that we're teaching, but I can give you the biggest 2 in an article like that. Or my favorite way to get answer for my target audience without even asking them. Okay, so those again behind the scenes, very, very valuable. People love that. And the last one, something that I don't do a lot, and I would not recommend you to do a lot. It's a little risky, but in the right opportunity with the right time, it's actually very, very valuable. And that's what we call the rant post. A rant is shows your human side by actually revealing how passionate you are and how angry you are of something that is happening that shouldn't have happened. Okay, or that people should have behaved differently. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. If it's not your style, and if it's not fitting, please don't do that. It's going to ricochet. It's going to, bite you in the ass. But with the right blog, with the right audience, with the right topic, that can be major. That can be major. Actually, one of the most viral videos I ever created. I didn't create. Somebody just shoot it from a training while it was live and put it online. In the right timing, went viral like crazy, and we had hundreds of thousands of people that were watching it, sharing it, commenting about it, etc. And that was when the Paris bombing happened the day after, and everybody was upset and nervous and scared and angry and changing their Facebook photo to the flag of France, and I just was on stage and I just gave people what I think about that and how pathetic I think these behaviors are and what can we do differently. And I came up from an emotion of frustration and anger, and but I channeled it into show people something, and it worked fantastically. Look it up. Another one that I would do is why most of the world experts lie when it comes to how they make their money. Okay, for example. So that's one of my rants, my usual rants, because I can't stand it. Okay, so those were a few things with Be a Human, and I'm going to give you a minute to think which one is perfect for you, which one would you like to use, and we're going to come back with the others in 1 minute.